A few days ago, Bryce Covert released a great article about the issue of homelessness and how the solution is actually right in front of us, and we're just not taking advantage of it. He says, quote, "Since 2010, homelessness among the country's veterans has fallen 33%, and the number of veterans sleeping on the street has fallen nearly 40%. A number of government agencies announced this week that new data of the homeless population from January shows that there are currently 49,933 homeless veterans. Granted, that number is way too high, but it's a reduction of 24,837 people over the past 4 years. So, this is the good news. Now, how did we get to this point? Well, the agencies point to the fact that they focused on housing first initiatives. And that means exactly what it sounds like. You get homeless veterans, you give them just a tiny room in an apartment building. Now, as I've mentioned before, and the previous articles have made this clear, you can't give them like a really nice apartment, because then, you've fucked up the incentive structure and you fucked up, the idea that people can work and then they pay for something that's higher quality, right? So we're not going above and beyond. Nobody's getting a mansion. Nobody's getting a great townhouse or a condo or something like that. We're talking about like tiny little one-room apartments, totally not furnished, fucking concrete floors, but a place for you to sleep, okay? And they did this and it worked. In total, they're spending just $22 million on this initiative, and they've, quote, served 74,019 veterans since 2008. Now, in recent years, they've been doing it more. When you go all the way back to 2008 and around that time, they didn't do it as much back then. They say that in Phoenix and Salt Lake City, they've actually ended chronic veteran homelessness, and the Housing First model is exceeding expectations in just how successful it is. So the idea now is, well, it's working. We know it's working. Why are we not, number one, expanding it for homeless veterans, but also, number two, expanding it for homeless people throughout the United States of America? So on any given night, there are 600,000 homeless people in America, and there are 100,000 chronically homeless people. Isn't that amazing how high that number is? I mean, 600,000 people? I mean, it seems like something honestly, tackling this should be close to priority number one of any government, never mind the government of a first world country like the United States of America. This is the debate-ending data. Quote, "It may cost more to do nothing at all. The costs of putting the homeless in jail for violating ordinances or putting them in the hospital for emergency care are 3 times as expensive as helping them find a place to live. One Florida county spent more than $5 million over a decade jailing just 37 homeless people. And on the other hand, one apartment complex for the homeless in North Carolina saved $1.8 million in its first year." So, quote, "Leaving homeless people on the streets costs $31,065. Giving them housing is just $10,051. There's no argument against this. There's no argument against this. Because even if you're coming at this from a deficit hawk, budget hawk, fiscal conservative, fiscal discipline kind of position, the reality is you're gonna save more money if you focus on housing first. Give them one tiny little, not furnished, no nothing, just a bed in their apartment. Give them a tiny little apartment, okay, and then everything after that blossoms. The government ends up saving a lot of money. The further evidence has shown that they actually end up getting their lives together very quickly after you give them a room. So they'll go to housing. They'll go to psychologists or psychiatrists. They'll start taking their meds. A lot more of the homeless people end up getting jobs and holding them down because you've given them a roof over their head. So you can't, again, there's no argument against it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of people can try to muster up arguments to battle back against this, but in all seriousness, you're just being an ideologue if after being given this information you say, fuck it, I still want them to be on the streets. I don't want to tackle this from the federal government perspective by doing the housing first proposals. And it's also a moral issue. I mean, I try to hold back from bringing that up because a lot of people roll their eyes when you talk about it, but I mean, we're dealing with a country, we spend $4 billion a year giving a welfare check to ExxonMobil. We spend more than that giving a welfare check to Walmart. We have $83 billion a year going to the big banks. More than that going to Wall Street. Never mind the bailouts. I haven't even brought that up. Never mind the military-industrial complex. 57% of discretionary spending goes to defense contractors when we all know it's really offense contractors. I mean, we waste money in so many ways. We spent billions on a plane that doesn't even fucking fly, the F-35-2, and we continue to throw money at that problem. Even pork barrel projects. You know, we spend money on stupid shit like a shrimp museum in Louisiana and to study how World of Warcraft is played. Like, I like video games, they're fun, but why the fuck is the government subsidizing studying people playing the game? Like, of all the things that we can use our tax dollars for, shouldn't number one on the list be to look out for the people who are in the worst situation among us?